Hey guys, Dr. Decks here. Today I'm going to be checking out this new Makita 40 volt reciprocating saw. A lot of people call it a Sawzall, but that's actually a trade name. Came out from Milwaukee, I don't know how many, probably whenever they invented the thing, and they called it a Sawzall because it sawed everything, right? So the term we're using is reciprocating saw today, and this is their latest offering. They just sent this to us. It's on their 40 volt platform. You got a 40 volt battery, and it's a 4 amp hour battery. So it's their heftier version of the battery platform. Sawzalls or reciprocating saws, there's really not a whole lot to them. They're really designed for one thing, and that's basically cutting through stuff and doing it efficiently and quickly. So a couple of features on this saw: it has a speed control, which usually I just leave mine all the way up. Because there's also a speed control in the finger of the saw as well. Unless you're just like really want to go slow for some reason, which I think, you know, certain people, maybe you're starting a cut in metal or doing a certain specific cut and you don't want to overheat the blade, you could definitely go slow. And then you have adjustable speed on your trigger, right? But for wood, usually we hammer on that baby. It's got a rafter hook as well, which is kind of cool. So we can hook this onto a joist or something while we're working. And it just gives you an extra place to put the tool, because a lot of times when or on your belt or on your pants, it's a little heavy for that, but it's doable. There's also a depth setting for your guard, which is kind of a nice feature when you're maybe you've doled out the blade in a certain spot because you're using this to run against it for your cuts. You might open this up and maybe you can bring it out a couple notches, and then you have another section of the blade that you can use, and then maybe you run that one out, and then you can open this up and pull it all the way out. So you're gonna get a couple inches of adjustment here so that you can use more of your blades. Once you're done through cutting that one spot, if the blade's hammered, you can adjust this and you'll get some new teeth for that, okay? So for this test, we're just gonna go ahead and leave it down like that, lock it in, and then there's one other dial right here. I think it changes how much the blade oscillates while it's cutting. So in this feature, it's gonna oscillate more, but if you pull this back, it's gonna do more of a back and forth cut and not an oscillating cut. When you do an oscillating cut, it's a little bit more aggressive, which I'm in. I'm trying to cut through most things, even if when I'm trying to be extremely accurate. This is not an accurate tool. You can be accurate with it, but it's not the most accurate tool in the tool shed, okay? So I don't usually use this when I need to make a precise cut. I have made precise cuts with these. Then I would pull this back to a non-oscillating position, because you're gonna get a finer cut that way versus a more aggressive cut that's gonna try to cut through the material quick, but not as accurate as you do if you run the saw back and forth and try to take your time with it. Today, for the sake of cutting and just showing you guys the tool, we're gonna go ahead and throw a brand new carbide tipped, this is kind of ironic, right? We're not sponsored for blades. We don't have a Diablo sponsorship like a lot of these other guys do. So this happens to be a brand new $10 carbide tipped Milwaukee blade that we're using on our Makita saw. And then we're gonna put it on our Dewalt reciprocating saw over here and cut with it as well. But the reason I have this is I was at Home Depot. I needed some aggressive cutting wood blades. Now these are great pruning blades, but they also work pretty good for cutting wood, okay? So they call it the axe, and that's why I like this. But I was like, hey, let's go deluxe and we'll buy the carbide versions, because those are gonna last longer than a standard steel. But I've been using these axes ever since they came out, and I usually get a 9 or a 12-inch version, but this is what I have today, and that's what we're gonna make the cut with. And then we're gonna cut with this saw, and then we're gonna immediately take it off the saw and put it on this saw and make the same cut and compare and see if I can tell a difference, and maybe if you can hear a difference. To be fair, this is a 40 volt tool, 4 amp hour battery. It's gonna last, I don't know, for however many cuts. You can check the webpage if you wanna go see how many cuts you can make with this saw per charge. I'm just gonna see in real time how it cuts. And then we're gonna put it against this 20 volt flex volt. Now, to be fair, we shot a TV show a while back, and we gaffed out all of our batteries. So I can't even tell you how many amp hours it is. I guess I could probably look under here. Nope, that's gaffed too. Those guys, they gaffed it all. This is 9 amp hours. This is an older battery, but it's a bigger battery, so we'll see how it compares. So, but it is one of their newest offerings in this particular saw. This saw does not have a speed dial. It does have electronic speed control in the trigger. Okay, and it has a quick blade change dial as well. Oh yeah, forgot to show you that on this one. There is a quick blade change. It's like a dial or a switch that you add for your blades, which is nice. I hate those ones that you have to turn the head of the Sawzall. We have a Metabo HPT one like that, and I can't stand that saw, man. It's a good saw once you get the blade on it. I really like these quick levers. These are awesome. And there's actually no other features except a trigger lock, so you can lock it away when you're taking it and transporting it, and if you leave the batteries connected. But besides that, this thing's designed to do one thing, and that's just cut material quickly. Okay, enough of the talk. Let's walk. We're gonna drop this in here. It's locked in, okay? And let's go, oh. Put it in upside down, which sometimes I do. I'm kind of used to doing it that way because I feel I get a little bit more accuracy when I cut upside down when I'm trying to do an accurate cut. But today's test, I'm going to be using the plate as leverage to help cut through the material faster. We're going to be cutting through a pressure treated 4x6, which you see right here. So I'm going to start with this saw. I'm going to make a cut, and then we'll switch the blade into this saw, and we'll compare and see what my thoughts are on these two saws. All right, guys, so we tried doing this with the table and some clamps, and because it's a plastic table and things just move, it didn't really work out too well. So we went and got a jaw horse, and we locked the material in now, so it's not gonna bounce around. So now I think we're gonna get a little bit more accurate, stable cut. So we're gonna do this again with the jaw horse versus just clamping it to a plastic table. All right? So we're gonna start with the Makita. You ready? Not bad, efficient. And rafter hook, I can set the saw right onto whatever. This particular saw does not have a rafter hook. It was sitting in the dirt. So we're gonna put the same blade. I'm not sure if these carbide blades are the way to go when you're just trying to cut through wood. We might put a pruning blade on that's not carbide and see if it goes any better. All right, here we go with the Dewalt. I would say that took a little bit longer to get through. Both saws got through it just fine, but I'd have to give it to the Makita on this one. I'm gonna switch blades into something else really quick, and let's give it one more try with a non-carbide tip blade. All right, guys, so I didn't like that axe blade too much. I kind of think they suck, actually. I grabbed a Diablo 9-inch pruning blade. It's also carbide tooth, so let's see how it cuts compared to that other blade that I don't like. And maybe this will cut a little bit better. So, because I was like, the performance is pretty good on these saws, but I expect these saws to really rip through this material. So either my expectations are too high or that blade was just not what I thought it was. And I have $250 of them in my case. Now I got to find the receipt and return them. I really don't like the way those cut. So I'm hoping that this Diablo one will cut a little bit better. Let's try it out. You guys ready? That's a little bit better cut, in my opinion. Okay, that's the Milwaukee, or that, oh, I'm getting all my brands confused. That's the Makita saw, and here is the Dewalt. Now, my initial impressions here, guys, this particular reciprocating saw is smoother. This Makita one is vibrating a little bit more, And this one seems to have a little bit smoother cut, but let's finish this last cut and we'll see. I'll give you my 2 cents on this. All right, so Studio Man brought something up to me that since there's 2 modes in the Makita saw, I should maybe try the non-reciprocating. Oh, I was actually in straight cut mode. So let's try cutting in the reciprocating mode or the oscillating. Was I saying oscillating before? Oscillating mode. Let's just see what happens when we put it on a more aggressive mode. Let's see if it goes any faster or smoother or rougher, okay? Here we go. Yeah, I would say that probably cut a little bit better and a little bit cleaner. It wasn't bouncing around quite as much. So that's a pretty good cut. I was about to give it up to the Dewalt saw until I made that last cut in this setting right here, where we're in a more advanced reciprocating cut where it's oscillating back and forth a little bit more. Instead of going back and forth like this, it's actually kind of cutting at a more aggressive stance. So I think that if you want the fastest, most aggressive cut, this is your way to go. But if you want a little bit smoother saw, that Dewalt does feel a little bit smoother in my hands than this one does. Just being honest here, guys. I'm not really comparing brands. I'm just comparing the performance of the tool. I believe this one is a little bit angrier, so it really wants to rip through the material. So I do have to give it to Makita for putting out some really sweet high performance tools with some really great features. If I'm cutting with this saw, I'm just trying to get stuff torn down and out. It's mostly for demolition. For us, it's mostly a demolition tool. So I want something that's most aggressive. Smooth is cool too, like if you're gonna be using it all day long. But if I think what's gonna boil down to, this one has a little bit more power, it's a little bit quicker, it's a little more aggressive. It's gonna be boiling down to your battery platform on this one. I'd be happy with either one. If I have a particular battery platform I'm trying to stick with, then that's probably the brand that I would go with. It's a pretty good tool, and I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.